More trouble over at DC. I know, stop me if you've heard this before. And in fact, I got something that's coming out because this news just dropped recently, so we have to talk about this right now. And I had a couple of things to say about the Batman 2 situation in a video that's coming out tomorrow or Monday. I think it's on Monday, so yeah, stay tuned. That's more specific on the James Gunn side of life. But in regards to DC, it's been a bloody mess for a minute, and yeah, that is mostly because Matt Reeves had this promised sequel that's out there, and well, there's probably people, okay, even off the back of the original Batman that came out and it had a modest return, the second most successful DC project in, the past few years, only supplanted by another tangentially connected project to Matt Reeves, and that would be The Penguin. And so, because of the overwhelming critical and commercial success of The Penguin, that ended up rekindling some of the hype for a potential Batman 2 sequel. But then, we've also talked about how the movie ended up getting delayed by a year. And then there were also rumors about Matt Reeves himself that a bunch of people got in some hot water over, mostly because of their phraseology behind it. And, well, we can take a look at that right now as to why fans think the Batman 2 is getting canceled. Well, for one reason that we'll delve into, okay, there's also another one that's out there. It's because James Gunn is an egomaniac, but I don't want to tip my hand too much for an upcoming video. But a new rumor has emerged on the internet suggesting that Batman 2 currently slated for October 1st, 2027. Holy shit. Could either get canceled or just incorporated into James Gunn's DCU. I wonder what's going to happen. This has made fans anxious about the truth behind these rumors. The first film premiered in 2022, so it's going to be 5 years between releases, achieving critical and commercial success, resulting in Warner Brothers greenlighting the second installment. However, the highly anticipated sequel has been delayed numerous times from its original release date. So is the Batman 2 getting canceled? Well, the above rumor regarding the Batman 2's cancellation or its incorporation into James Gunn's DCU began at the John Campea show. Here, Campea was asked by a fan if the Batman 2 was likely to get canceled or incorporated into the DCU. In response, Campea opined that the former scenario was more likely, emphasizing that it is just his opinion and not something official. He argued that the tonal nature of Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's The Batman universe simply did not allow it to become a part of the DCU. Campea clarified that the Batman 2 wasn't likely to get canceled. Oh, once again, John Campea about as right as a Jim Cramer stock prediction. He reiterated that it was more likely to happen out of the two aforementioned scenarios, which is so funny. But notable internet scooper, My Time to Shine, Hello, claimed that the Batman 2 wasn't getting canceled. Additionally, prominent internet scooper Grace Randolph had earlier claimed in her YouTube video that the reason for the Batman 2's multiple delays was due to Reeves dealing with a personal life and health situation similar to that of late Chadwick Boseman. Well, that's not necessarily true the way that she characterized it, because Grace is, she's such a funny person. She said, well, Matt Reeves is going through some problems, and it's not like a Chadwick Boseman type situation. It's not that serious. And she got a lot of shit for that, okay? And I think it was Campea that also followed up on the same rumors as well. But still, it's been something that's been going around, and there's some people that know a little bit more than other people, but it's all just simply rumors at this point that, yeah, Matt Reeves is dealing with something. It might be personal, it might be mental, it might be physical at this point. Who actually knows? But yeah, we've also known that, well, James Gunn, not a big fan of Matt Reeves and what he's doing over there, mostly because James Gunn wants Batman. Okay, like, we all know this, and if you're doing a DC universe, okay, you want Superman and you want Batman. They're two of the three most recognizable names in superheroes, and yeah, if you're going to be starting a universe, you want a strong Superman, you want a strong Batman. And one of James Gunn's numerous announcements was, yeah, a Batman movie. And that totally makes sense. Of all of the announcements that he made, a Batman movie being in there is very much one of them. Now, the storyline that he wants to adapt is a little bit fucking stupid by just, going ahead and jumping all the way to your fourth iteration of Robin. is questionable to say the least, but like I said, I don't want to tip my hat too much in regards to what I say about James Gunn, but yeah, stick around in the next couple of days in regards to that. But that production, Brave and the Bold, James Gunn's Batman, okay, it's been going through some foibles in and of itself, because the idiot who directed The Flash, okay, James Gunn, prior to releasing Superman, which I'm sure is going to be his favorite superhero film of all time, mostly because, well, it's James Gunn's James Gunn. So James Gunn is going to love more James Gunn self-inserts. He thought that The Flash was the best superhero film that he's ever seen, okay? So yeah, hiring the director of that abomination to helm The Brave and the Bold, that has, it's been interesting, right? Because he did talked recently or previously about the script in regards to the Batman, because, okay, cool, it could look like a horrific disaster, okay? It could be directed by the same guy that had, the gummy and mocked CGI from 2023's The Flash. Or maybe it could be something better. He could only do what was provided by the script that he was given, so who's going to be writing the script? Who's going to be writing the script for The Brave and the Bold? Well, James Gunn has wanted to keep it under his cap a little bit by saying that, oh, there's a tremendous amount of pressure and I don't want to put too much of a spotlight on whoever's writing this. Yeah, if you read between the lines just a little bit, James Gunn is also writing the script for The Brave and the Bold, but because Warner Brothers at the same time want to capitalize on the success of 2022's The Batman, they also don't want to run with 2 live-action Batman, because that's just, it's silly. It really is silly. Get on page with all of your creatives and figure something out, which is exactly what just happened. Matt Reeves no longer directing The Batman Part 2, sequel set for production in 2026 with no director attached. It's getting canceled. It's 1000% getting canceled. I always thought that, hey man, as long as Matt Reeves is going to be sticking around, and if there's a possibility, they could just go ahead, round off this story, send this off into the great unknown. It was a wonderful 2 movies. It was a fantastic spin-off series, but that's it. That's all the story that's going to be told. Just have it as an encapsulated, little self-contained Elseworlds work. But now if Matt Reeves isn't going to be around, oh yeah, Robert Pattinson. Yeah, he's going to be told to not worry about bulking up, don't worry about getting back into shape. And I know that you were talking about that, was that early this year or after I think it was after the conclusion of The Penguin, in regards to, yeah, when are we going to be seeing the Batman 2? Well, yeah, we were supposed to do, like we were doing year 1 Batman for the original, and I'm basically going to be able to do Batman Returns by the time that we eventually do get around to this stuff. And then you just heard Warner Brothers kicking the can down the road in regards to delays, and it's like, yeah, I don't really know if this movie's ever going to come out. It's probably like, I would say 60% chance, but now that Matt Reeves is no longer attached to this project, bro, it's cooked. This is never seeing the light of day. We will never see the Batman 2. Batman 2 is moving forward, but apparently not under director or the direction of Matt Reeves. According to newly released listing from Production Weekly, Reeves is no longer attached as director of the upcoming DC sequel and is now only credited as the film's screenwriter. But we've also heard that there's no script for the Batman 2. Oh shit. And production is currently aiming for March of 2026. Shoot in London. Bro, a year? Well, 10 months. 10 months? It's not happening. With a revised release date of October 1st, 2027. The news marks a dramatic shift for the franchise, and that Matt Reeves helped shape from the ground up. And that 2022 release of The Batman was met with critical acclaim and a strong box office showing, leading to Warner Brothers to announce a full trilogy with Matt Reeves at the helm. But the sequel has since experienced multiple production delays and now the departure of its original director. Matt Reeves originally pitched The Batman as the first installment in a grounded trilogy exploring the younger, less refined version of Bruce Wayne. Drawing inspiration from noir detective stories and crime sagas like Zodiac and Chinatown, Reeves emphasized a psychological depth to Gotham characters. In interviews following the film's first film's release, Reeves spoke about building a rich world that could sustain multiple films and spin-offs, including HBO Max's The Penguin series, which released to critical and commercial acclaim. While Reeves has not publicly disclosed the reason behind his step back, speculation has been quietly building for months. Forbes writer Paul Tassi hinted at the situation back in January of 2025. I have heard what Reeves is going through, Tassi said, and no, I'm not going to say what it is, but I will say it's serious, and people really need to back off for a second. This early reference suggested that those in media circles were already aware of the serious personal issues affecting Reeves, but chose not to elaborate out of respect for his privacy. And yeah, Grace Randolph, sticking her foot in it and then just backing up, going, "So I got nothing else to say." Despite Reeves stepping back as director, The Batman Part 2 remains in active development. Sure it does. Pattinson and Colin Farrell, who was recently cast in a new DCU project for James Gunn, just got shown the door as well. So yeah, I mean, come on, man. Do you think that James was going, "Yeah, we wanted you to be Sergeant Rock, but now we're not going to do Sergeant Rock. You can go back to be the Penguin, but oops, now you don't have to be the Penguin. So don't worry about getting into the makeup anymore, because there's not going to be a fucking movie for you to go back to." Oh yeah, and Andy Serkis, bro. Yeah, because Andy Serkis was Alfred. Was he supposed to be Alfred? Yes, he was supposed to be Alfred. But at that point in time, if this thing's going to be going into production, which it's not, okay, in March of 2026 in London, he's going to be a little busy being in production down in New Zealand, okay, and also directing the Hunt for Gollum movie, which I don't want. I would like to see Batman 2 more than I want to see a Hunt for Gollum, because I don't want that. I really don't want that at all whatsoever. But I think it's going to be a minute before we get official announcement from Warner Brothers as to cancellation of the Batman. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to let you know that we'll probably hear a little bit more about this probably in August or September. I'm kind of thinking after Superman has its box office run, and whether or not, the higher ups at Warner Brothers, if David Zaslav sees a adequate return for James Gunn's A Maiden Voyage into the DCU. If Superman doesn't perform, not only is he going to have to contend with a bunch of upset and irate Snyder fans, he's also going to have to deal with the fact that Warner Brothers is a knee-jerk company. They are fucking stupid, but they're also willing to scrap the best laid plans. And so right now they're keeping the door open for a potential Batman 2 to bring on somebody who could better helm a DCU and keep James Gunn in his place, with all of the weirder aspects of the DCU, and bring on somebody that can properly handle a superhero, which from everything that we're hearing in regards to Superman, bro, that shit's gonna suck 7 ways from Sunday, and potentially save us from that insanity by doing something a little bit more grounded, a little bit more serious, the exact way that DC should have went, not hyper serious and ultra edgy like Snyder, but somebody who's actually competent, in the same vein as the Nolan Dark Knight trilogy, and in similar vein to Matt Reeves' original Batman and the Penguin series. Now, if it's the showrunner, I forget the lady's name. She worked on Chuck. I love Chuck. Now, if she's coming on to, take the Batman, that shit's going to be great and it's going to slap. But, we're just going to have to wait. We're just going to have to wait, because as much as the superhero genre is banking on the success of Superman and the Fantastic Four in regards to its future, Warner Brothers and the DCU really needs a firm answer to the question of if James Gunn can helm the DCU. And they'll get that response by the end of July, and we'll get some more information as to the future of Batman 2. My money's on this thing is never going to happen, because James Gunn's ego will not let it. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.